But once again, the title of today's class is The Woman and Her Son, the breakdown of 2nd Esdras 9 and 10. And we're going to get right to it. Let's go to 2nd Esdras chapter 9 and verse 38. Going into just giving some historical background, going into Esdras. Esdras is a great read. It's one of my favorite books to read. Brothers and sisters, make sure that y'all read these things. This is where it's showing that he had interaction with one of the archangels of the Most High God, Uriel. And the Most High God sent Uriel down to, guess what, answer questions that Ezra had and to give him understanding and to show him prophecies and to show him visions. You know, he had to pay for those things by doing what? Fasting 7 days, get some more understanding, then fast another 7 days to get more and more understanding. You know, so this is a real heavy book, and he's going into another similitude or another parable in the end of chapter 9. When you get there, read that out.
The book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 9, verse 38. And when I spake these things in my heart, I looked back with mine eyes, and upon the right side I saw a woman.
He saw a who?
I saw a woman.
Now we know in the scriptures that the Bible deals with what? Similitudes, parables, and allegories. Matter of fact, let's get that right quick. Give me Psalms chapter 49 and 3. We know that the Bible deals in allegories, parables, similitudes. So I know a lot of times when brothers and sisters are reading things, you have to also pray for spiritual discernment. Because some things can be saying one thing, but then they mean another thing. It's like going into the raps, like how people say today. You know, basically like slang or hip talk, like how we do. And then you know that, guess what? We are the people of the book. Who talks in parables like this? You know, our nation of people. You get there, read that out.
The book of Psalms, chapter 49, verse 3. My mouth shall speak of wisdom, and the meditation of my heart shall be of understanding.
And the meditation of my heart, meaning what your mind shall be of understanding. If brothers and sisters are not meditating or understanding how to get more in-depth knowledge of the scriptures, that's a problem. You want to constantly be doing those things. You want to constantly ask the Most High God to give you understanding of the scriptures. That's also what the captains and the leaders of congregations is for. When brothers are struggling, sisters are struggling throughout their week, call the brothers in. Hey, we're more than welcome to help take these calls, man, because like we always tell brothers and sisters, not only help y'all, but it helps us as well to cover questions we may not have came across yet. So, hey, call anytime, man. The Bible tells us to always be ready to give an answer. So y'all need this understanding to, guess what? To give to some people, to give to some brothers, to give to some sisters. Read that again from the top up.
My mouth shall speak of wisdom, and the meditation of my heart shall be of understanding. I will incline my ear to a parable.
So he will incline his ear to a parable, meaning what? How the Most High God compares one thing to another thing. Like how we see in many of the stories. Like how you see in the book of Genesis where he compares us to what? To the trees of the garden. Compares philosophies and doctrines to what? To the fruit. Read on.
I will open my dark saying upon the heart.
And guess what? He's saying that he will open a dark saying upon the heart. Meaning what? Speaking things that you can't tell on face value from reading. Meaning you have to really be in the spirit, really be diligent in keeping the commandments, because some of these things are hard to be understood. A lot of these things are. And like I said, brothers and sisters are not seasoned enough. Like I said, you could choke on those things. That's why we tell brothers and sisters gradually take the milk, get enough milk, and you gradually build up for the meat. Go ahead, yes sir. Go ahead. I know, brother, because we covered this. What other precepts do we got? Brother Vic, you see a brother paying attention in Camp 101, man. What other precepts we got for similitudes? Brothers gotta have these things, man. He said, write that thing next.
As far as similitudes, what you mean?
Parables, the precepts for parables and similitudes. What we covered in Camp 101. Look at Junior Agno. Let me hear what you got, Op.
Psalm 78 and 2.
Let's get that right quick.
The book of Psalms, chapter 78, verse 2. I will open my mouth in a parable. I will utter dark sayings of old.
Saying the same thing. Meaning what? It's things in here that are hard to be understood. So you have to constantly, guess what? Be training yourself to get that understanding. Taking notes. These things are important, brothers and sisters, like we tell them. Because you can't remember all these precepts, man. You have to actually write these things down and take notes. Now, some brothers may be good at it. Some sisters may be good at having memory muscle. But I'm not. So I literally have to write these things down. And it helps you get quick on your precepts, too, as you're reading these things. Even Christ gave us the understanding. The one that we always go to. Brothers, all brothers and sisters should know this. Give me Matthew chapter 13, verse 10.
The book of Matthew, chapter 13, verse 10. And the disciples came and said unto him, Why speakest thou unto them in parables? He answered and said unto them, Because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given.
So the disciples asked Christ why he always talking in parables, things uttered hard to be understood. But Christ gave them the understanding. It's given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven. But unto the other nations and unto the wicked of our people, it's not given unto them. That's why we always ask grandmamas, they can't get this truth. Paws, sometimes they can't grasp this truth. Sometimes children cannot grasp this truth. You know. Now I'm gonna call on when I got you, Brother Glenn. I'm gonna call, you know, I'll be trying to catch Brother slipping, man. So they always be on point. Go ahead,
Jump down to verse 35.
Verse 35. That it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophet.
Same thing is was saying in Psalm chapter 78 and 2, man. Read.
Saying, I will open my mouth in parables. I will utter things which have been kept secret from the foundation of the world.
Like I said, it's going into the same thing, man. So make sure brothers and sisters have these precepts lined up right beside. Go ahead, now.
Let's go back to 2nd Ezra chapter 9 and verse 38. When you get there, read that off.
The book of 2nd Ezra chapter 9 verse 38. And when I spake these things in my heart, I looked back with mine eyes, and upon the right side I saw a woman. And behold, she mourned and wept with a loud voice.
With a what?
She mourned and wept with a loud voice.
So Ezra looked back and he seen a woman that was weeping and mourning. Now this is going into what we just covered, a parable and a similitude, even when you read on down. Because the Most High God compares Israel to a what? Any brother got the precept? You got the precept, Brother Barakai? Give me Jeremiah 6 and 2. The Most High God compares Israel, the nation of Israel, to a delicate and comely woman. Because remember what? We're espoused to Christ. Christ is our husband. The nation of Israel is the woman. So the Bible talks in the feminine sense. Even when you read the book of Wisdom of Solomon, the Most High God refers to wisdom as a woman. When you get there, read that out.
The book of Jeremiah chapter 6 verse 2. I have likened the daughter of Zion to a comely and delicate woman.
He said, I have likened the daughter of Zion to a delicate and comely woman. Even when you read in the book of Revelations, where it talks about the woman. Let's get that. Revelation chapter 12. And verse 1.
The book of Revelation chapter 12 verse 1. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under her foot,
That woman
under her feet.
That woman is going into Israel. It's the sun and the moon going into wisdom and understanding. Read on.
And upon her head a crown of 12 stars.
Symbolizing what? The 12 tribes of Israel. So we know, even going back, let's go back to 2nd Esdras 9 and 38. Read it throughout.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 9, verse 38. And when I spake these things in my heart, I looked back with mine eyes, and upon the right side I saw a woman, and behold, she mourned and wept with a loud voice, and was much grieved in heart.
Read on.
And her clothes were rent, and she had ashes upon her head.
Y'all know when we rent our clothes and pour ashes upon our head, that means we were in a mode of supplication or humbling ourselves because we had just done some wickedness. So we were trying to come back and repent of certain sins that we dealt in as a nation of people. Read on.
Then let I my thoughts go that I was in, and turn me into her.
It says, Ezra said, then let I my thoughts go that I was in, and turn unto her. Because Ezra was deep in thought, because Uriel was giving him understanding about a whole lot of mysteries in the Bible, giving them end time prophecies, letting them know, guess what was going to be happening in the latter days. Read on.
And said unto her, wherefore weepest thou?
Why are you crying? Why are you weeping? Read on.
Why art thou so grieved in thy mind? And she said unto me, Sir, let me alone.
You know, leave me alone. I don't want to be bothered. I just want to weep. But it's our job as a nation of people to, guess what? Look out for our people. Ask. You see brothers and sisters in a sad countenance, you can tell. By now, brothers and sisters are getting spiritual, getting built up. So you can see the spirit that's on brothers and sisters. You can see if they're in a happy spirit. You can see if their countenance is low. It's our job as a nation of people to, guess what? There's nothing wrong with asking. That might make a person's day. Asking, being concerned about brothers and sisters. Because as a nation of people, we wasn't taught those things. We taught to worry about your own self, don't care about them. But it's our job coming back to look out for your fellow brother and your fellow sister, your fellow neighbor. Go ahead,
Let me give an example on this. Let's go to Job chapter 2 right quick. Now this is after Job just got, the Most High God had gave Satan a little bit more access to Job, man. So he hit Job with sores all over his body. Now, be it that it may, this is how, giving an example on how friends supposed to be. So these three guys, they was Job's friends. So when Job was going through these things, when they seen Job, they couldn't recognize Job. So when they seen him, guess what? They mourned with Job, man. Read verse 12.
The book of Job, chapter 2, verse 12.
Read.
And when they lifted up their eyes afar off, and knew him not.
They said they knew him not, because Job had just got hit with sores all over his body, man. Read on.
They lifted up their voice and wept.
And they did what?
They lifted up their voice and wept.
Because Job was weeping too, so they lifted up their voice and wept too. Read.
And they rent every one of his members, and sprinkled dust upon their heads toward heaven.
They're doing the same thing like I was saying. They would sprinkle ashes and dust on their head. This is how we always done. We always sprinkle ashes and dust on our head. This is going into lamenting to the Most High God, man. They have lamentations, like when you're going into sprinkling dust on your head, meaning to bring yourself down, humble yourself in a lower estate to the Most High God. Because sometimes when we feel like we're doing something, we act like we don't humble ourselves to the Most High God. We act like we are all right. No, humble yourself before the Most High God, man. This is how we supposed to be thinking.
Let's go back. And brothers want to make sure, sisters want to make sure, like we say, take heed to these things, write these notes down, go back and watch these videos. I'm gonna go back to 2nd Esdras chapter, because I forgot another precept for the woman. 2nd Esdras chapter 10 and verse 44. So like, because Zion is also compared to a woman, but in this context, she's also compared to something else too. You get that, read that.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 10, verse 44. This woman whom thou sawest is Zion.
So it's giving you the breakdown. Like we always tell brothers, all you have to do is read a little bit more. You might get the answer a chapter over, or you read a little bit up, you might get the answer before chapters. Read verse 44 again.
this woman whom thou sawest is Zion. And whereas she said unto thee, even she whom thou seest, as a city building.
So she's compared to a woman. Zion is compared to a woman and to a what? And to a city. That's right. So this is going into both of those things, because who knows what captivity Ezra was in? What you got, a little bit of Persian and Mede captivity. Brothers got to have those things written down. What year? 538 BC. Make sure y'all have that in the front of your book so you'll understand these things when you're reading it in context. And you slowly but surely putting that book together. Let's go back to 2nd Ezra chapter 9 and verse 41.
The book of 2nd Ezra chapter 9 verse 41. And she said unto me, Sir, let me alone, that I may bewail myself, and add unto my sorrow. For I am sore vexed in my mind, and brought very low.
So she was vexed in her mind and her spirit, and brought very low. Us as a what? Nation. Us as a city. Because we was just got out of the what? What captivity did we just get out of? What you got out of? The Babylonian. We was out there. He was in there, but we had just got out of the Babylonian captivity. 586 BC. Read on up.
Verse 42. And I said unto her, What aileth thee? Tell me. She said unto me, I, thy servant, have been barren.
Have been barren?
Have been barren, and had no child, though I had an husband 30 years.
So she was mad that she had no child, even though she had had a husband, what? 30 years. Because as women of our nation, it's basically y'all jobs to, guess what, mass produce us on a nation level. That's, sisters understood that, but I know a lot of times our people are smitten with madness now. We do the opposite of that. Now our people is the ones that fill up all the abortion clinics. We done feel so far, we think that, guess what, we have sex and that everything is okay, just kill the baby. No. Sisters, guess what? If sisters didn't have no baby, they felt sad, man. They was really out of the spirit, man. Let me get that right quick. Give me Timothy. You got something good. 1 Timothy chapter 5 and verse 14.
The book of 1 Timothy chapter 5 verse 14. I would therefore that the younger woman marry, bear children.
Do what?
Marry, bear children, guide the house, give none occasion to the adversary to speak reproachfully.
So guess what? This was going into what was commanded of sisters. This is the book of 1 Timothy chapter 5 and verse 14. Read it again from the top up.
Book of 1 Timothy chapter 5 verse 14. I will therefore that the younger woman marry, bear children.
So it was their jobs, customs, traditions to marry, to bear children. Read on.
Guide the house.
Guide the house. Now we see a lot of times sisters, a lot of sisters don't even like to be at home, but that was their job. Now, it's not saying just be locked down in the house. We know sisters have to go and take care of business, but we talking about that busy bonita sister that love to run the streets. This is what this is going into. Read on.
Give none occasion to the adversary to speak reproachfully.
It says give none occasion to the adversary, because guess what? The adversary could be anything against the Most High God. Looking for a sister to do what? Slip up and fall. So guess what? She have to be corrected. The Bible is telling y'all and giving y'all guidelines on what to watch out for. Make sure you guide your spirit. Make sure you, guess what? You be in order with your husband. Make sure you guide in your mouth. So don't nobody have no reason to bring you up on counsel or bring correction to you. Let's go back to 2nd Ezra chapter 9 and verse 43. You started 43 again, huh? 43.
The book of 2nd Ezra chapter 9 verse 43. She said unto me, I thy servant have been barren, and had no children.
And that child, we're going to go into what that child is. Read on.
And had no child, though I had an husband 30 years.
Read on, Doc.
And those 30 years I did nothing else day and night, and every hour, but make prayer to the highest.
To what? So the Most High God could bless her with a child. Remember, this is going into what? A similitude and a parable. It's comparing. The woman is going into what? Israel and the city of Jerusalem. And we're going to find out who this child is going into. Read on.
After 30 years, God heard me, thine handmaid, looked upon my misery, considered my trouble, and gave me a son. And I was very glad of him. So was my husband also, and all my neighbors. And we gave great honor unto the Almighty.
Any brother know to take a guess on who they think the son is? Who y'all think the son is? Any brother? What you got, brother Asher? What you think,
Was it John the Baptist?
Let's jump down. Go to 2nd Ezra chapter 10 and verse 45.
The book of 2nd Ezra chapter 10 verse 45. Whereas I say, she said unto thee, that she had been 30 years barren. Those of the 30 years wherein there was no offering made in her. But after 30 years, Solomon builded the city and offered offerings, and then burned a son.
So what is this? Did brothers catch that? What is the son going into? What is the son a parable for? We already said what the city was. The who?
King David.
The temple. The temple. Because read verse 45 again.
Verse 45. Whereas I say, she said unto thee, that she had been 30 years barren. Those are the 30 years wherein there was no offering made in her.
So we didn't make no offering in her because what? We didn't have no temple. That's where you have to go through the history and read what happened. Because King David, we finna touch on that real quick. Let's go to it. Give me 1 Kings chapter 2 verse 10. So we know that the woman is going into Zion, going into the city, and the son is going into the temple. Because do any brother know, just off face value, why didn't King David get to build the temple? Too much blood on his hands. That's one part, but what's the other two? Because he was too busy taking down the other nations too, putting them in submission. But yeah, he had too much blood on his hands. Well, I just sitting over there, man, over there high. I can't see you real good over there. No, I'm talking about brother before. You know I got messed with eye. But yeah, going into the temple. 1 Kings chapter 2 verse 10.
Verse 20.
1 Kings 2 and 10.
10. Okay. The book of 1 Kings chapter 2 verse 10. So David slept with his fathers and was buried in the city of David. In the days that David reigned over Israel were 40 years.
So he reigned over Israel, what, 40 years? Read on.
7 years reigned in Hebron.
7 years reigned he in Hebron.
And 3 years reigned he in Jerusalem.
So now you kind of get the picture of where the 30 years is coming from. Those first 7 years he was doing what? Doing a lot of wars during that time. Taking down the other nations. Putting them in submission. Making sure that, guess what? They brought tribute to our nation. Read on.
Then sat Solomon up on the throne of David his father.
And I missed that last part. In 33 years reigned he in Jerusalem. Because what? During that time, after he had put most of the nations in submission, he had too much blood on his hands, so he couldn't build the temple. Read on.
Then sat Solomon upon the throne of David his father, and his kingdom was established greatly.
And his kingdom was established greatly because of what his forefather had left off. Give me 1 Chronicles 22 and 1.
The book of 1 Chronicles chapter 22 verse 1. Then David said, this is the house of the Lord God, and this is the altar of the burnt offering for Israel.
Read on now.
And David commanded together the strangers that were in the land of Israel. And he set mansions masons to hew wrought stones to build the house of God.
Read on up.
And David prepared iron in abundance for the nails, for the doors of the gate, and for the joining and brass in abundance without weight.
Read on up.
Also cedar trees in abundance for the Zidonians.
Meaning what? Africans. Read on.
And they that Tyre.
And they of Tyre.
Brought much cedar wood to David.
So we had the Africans bringing us the best cedar wood. Read on.
Verse 5. And David said, Solomon, my son is young and tender, and the house that is to be builded for the Lord must be exceedingly magnificent.
Magnifical.
Yeah.
Read on.
Of fame and of glory.
Hey, that's some Ebonics. That's some Ebonics for you right there, man. You know how people put different pizzazz on things? He's talking about magnifical. Read on.
Of fame and glory throughout all countries. I will therefore now make preparations for it. So David prepared abundantly before his death.
Read on up.
Then he called for Solomon, his son, and charged him to build an house for the Lord God of Israel.
Read on up.
And David said to Solomon, my son, as for me, it was in my mind to build an house unto the name of the Lord my God.
So David wanted to build a house, but the Most High God gave him the instructions not to build them. Read on.
For the word of the Lord came to me, saying, Thou hast shed blood abundantly.
Read that again.
But the word of the Lord came to me, saying, Thou hast shed blood abundantly, and hast made great wars. Thou shalt not build an house unto my name.
So King David had too much blood on his hands to, guess what, build a house to the Most High God. Because you know that the temple had to be the holiest of holies, man. He had too much blood on his hand. That lets you know how much of a warrior David was, man. All praise to the Most High God. The Most High God is going to put that same spirit back on us in these end times, man. When we're ready to take down the nations, man. Read on.
Because thou hast shed much blood upon the earth in my sight.
So guess what? He wasn't ordered to, guess what, build the temple. So during that time from when David was taking down the nations, like we said, approximately 30 years, 30-something years, we had no temple. And it's showing you why, even going back to 2nd Esdras chapter 9. Y'all got something? Yeah, you seen them? Let's go back to 2nd Esdras chapter 9 and verse 45.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 9, verse 45. After 30 years, God heard me, thy handmaid, look upon my misery, consider my trouble, and gave me a son.
Gave me a son, what? The temple, read on.
And I was very glad of him. So was my husband also, and all my neighbors, and we gave great honor unto the Almighty.
Read on now.
And I nourished him with great travail.
So the city of Jerusalem nourished the temple what? With great travail. Read on.
So when he grew up, it came to the time that we should have a wife.
That he
should have a wife, I made a feast.
Read on.
Chapter 10, verse 1. And it so came to pass that when my son was entered into his wedding chamber, he fell down and died.
So we knowing that the son represents who? The temple. Read verse 1 again up.
And so it came to pass that when my son was entered into his wedding chamber, he fell down and died.
Now let's get the precept on that. Jump over to verse 48.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 10, verse 48. But whereas she said unto thee, that my son coming into this marriage chamber happened to have a fall and died. This was the destruction that came to Jerusalem.
Read that last part again.
This was the destruction that came to Jerusalem.
So the sun signifies what? The sun dying, which means what? When the temple fell. The temple fell in what? 586 BC. So y'all know when you read, that's what we tell brothers, y'all want to make sure y'all know chronological history when you're reading the Bible. Because after 586 BC, what was Ezra's administration? What did he do? Do anybody know that? You have to read this history. Do any brother know what Ezra did? Take a guess at it. Brother Gabar, what you think?
I don't. Was he a priest? Did he become a high priest?
Yeah, he was a priest, but
He
what?
was a governor.
He was a governor, but what was his administration?
His administration.
Oh, rebuilt the walls?
Yes. Him and who else? Nehemiah.
Okay.
So after the destruction of 586, y'all know that BC ticks down, AD ticks up. So 586 BC ticking down to 538 BC. So during that time, they was commissioned by King Cyrus of Persia to, guess what, rebuild the wall. Then later on, guess what, they rebuilt the temple as well. So this is going into that history of that.
586 to 583.
Yeah, 586 to 538 BC.
Y'all remember Ezra too? I'm gonna got a question for y'all after class.
Go ahead, I'll bring it out now because I'm looking for something.
Yeah, let me ask y'all, what significant thing did Ezra do? Let me ask y'all something. Who wrote Genesis?
Moses did the first 5 books.
Okay. What happened to those 5 books? They were burned. So when God sent his angels back to Ezra, Ezra rewrote Genesis.
You gonna find it? Let me get this right quick. You can find, yeah. Give me Ezra chapter 4, verse 1. So yeah, it was Ezra's job. The king put on his spirit to let him go back and build up his walls. He seen that his nation was in distress. So just like us, that's what we're trying to do right now, repair our breaches. I know Captain Maccabees did a class on that a few weeks ago. We're constantly trying to repair the breaches. These are just temporary temples for the temple to come. But guess what? We're doing what? Practicing a righteous rehearsal right now. It's no different from what they're doing right now, man. When you get there, read that out.
What book?
Ezra chapter 4 and verse 1.
Second Ezra?
No, Ezra in the...
Oh, Ezra.
yeah, you know, we'll say first or second Ezra in the Apocrypha.
Okay.
So, yeah, just Ezra chapter 4 verse 1. Y'all know Ezra, first and second Ezra are the same people.
Right.
Read that out.
The book of Ezra, chapter 4, verse 1. Now when the adversaries of Judah and Benjamin heard that the children of the captivity builded the temple unto the Lord God of Israel.
So even at the title of my book, it's saying the temple foundations are laid. So it's telling you that we had adversaries during that time, meaning what? The other nations always tried to hinder us from building. Even like how they doing today. Constantly trying to put nicks out there to try to stop God's people from building. Read on.
Verse 2. Then they came to Jerubbaal, and to the chief of the fathers, and said unto them, let us build with you.
So the other nations, and this is a precept for brothers, like we say, to try to say and use that the other nations can come and build with us. It's nothing new up under the sun. They wanted to come and build with us. Let us help you build up your temple. Let us come to your school. Guess what? We can give things. Read on.
Let us build with you, for we seek your God, as you do.
So we seeking the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, just like you doing. Read on.
And we do sacrifice unto him since the days of Esdras.
Asarhaddon. Asarhaddon.
Asarhaddon, king of Assyria, which brought us up hither. But Jerubbaal and Jeshua and the rest of the chief of the fathers of Israel said unto them, ye have nothing to do with us to build an house unto our God.
Read that part again.
Ye have nothing to do with us to build an house unto our God.
So when the other nations are trying to come, or when you seeing brothers inviting other nations to their Passover, that scripture should cut them to the core, man. Ye have nothing to do with us to build an house to our God, man. Read on up.
But we ourselves together will build unto the Lord God of Israel.
But we ourselves will build together unto the house of the Lord. We don't need your help, man. We got the one true God, man. He gonna, guess what, prosper our hands to build in his name, man. We don't need the other nations' help with a damn thing, man. Read on up.
As King Cyrus, the king of Persia, had commanded us.
You have something? Go ahead, up.
Other nations said the same thing in Joel 3 and 4. talking about the Africans. What have you to do with you Tyrians?
That's right.
Nothing to do with it.
You don't have nothing at all to do with us. Let's go back to 2nd Ezra chapter 9, chapter 10, Salaki, and verse 1. So we know that, guess what? Ezra was commissioned to what? Rebuild the temple and the wall.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 10, verse 1.
Uh-huh.
And it so came to pass that when my son was entered into his wedding chambers, he fell down and died.
Uh-huh. Meaning the temple was destroyed in 586 BC. Read on.
Then we all overthrew the lights, and all my neighbors rose up to comfort me. So I took my rest until the second day at night.
Uh-huh. Read on.
And it came to pass, when they had all left off to comfort me, to the end I might be quiet. Then rose I up by night, and fled, and came hither into this field, as thou seest.
So, like we say, in a similitude, in a parable, like we say, she was sad that her son had died. Read on.
And I do not propose not to return into the city, but here to stay.
So she said in herself she was just going to stay in that field and weep. Read on.
And neither to eat nor drink, but continually to mourn and to fast until I die.
Uh-huh. Read on.
Then left I the meditations wherein was. Wherein was expect to her in anger, saying.
Read verse 5 again.
Then left I the meditations wherein I was.
Uh-huh.
Expect to her in anger, saying.
It says, then left I the meditations wherein I was, and spake to her in anger. So y'all know that Uriel was dealing with Esdras, giving him understanding. So he was doing what? That understanding he took, he meditated on those things. Like how we constantly tell brothers and sisters, the classes that captains, that brothers bring out, go home and meditate on these things, meaning go back, watch these things. Have these things, guess what, feed into your spirit, man. Really take the time to diligently go through each and every precept, man. These things help build brothers up, man. So guess what? You don't have evil thoughts on your mind, man. Read on.
Thou foolish woman, above all others, seest thou not our mourning, and what happened unto us?
So Ezra, you know, he pissed off because guess what? Ezra, he was concerned about his nation of people, just like how we are when we go out there and teach to our people. We hate to see the estate of our people, sisters out of order, men out of order, children out of order. We hate to see that thing, and Ezra was pissed off at sister. He told him, thou foolish woman, above all other, seest thou not our mourning? Like, you don't see the destruction of our people? You don't see the travail that we going through? Read on.
How that Zion, our mother, is full of all heaviness.
It says how that Zion, our mother, is full of heaven. You don't see our walls towed down. You don't see that we don't have no priests. You don't see that, guess what, the law is not being brought forth. We have no offering for sins. You see the sin that we're in, guess what, we ain't getting atonement for that. Read on.
In much humble mourning very sore. And now, seeing we all mourn and are sad, for we are all in heaviness. Art thou grieved for one son?
It says, and now, seeing we all mourn and are sad, for we are all in heaviness. Art thou grieved for one son? He's saying you seeing all the nation of people and you just worried about your one son? Like, you see the destruction of our people, and brothers have to let that resonate, sisters have to let that resonate. Because even we know brothers and sisters deal with problems. But that's what we're trying to get brothers and sisters to think on a nation level. Guess what? Your problems do not go beyond our nation building, man. That's why we tell brothers, especially when you're not taking the counsel on how to deal with those problems, you got to understand that, guess what? We're in the rebuilding process. We're trying to build up a nation, man. So guess what? You want to make sure that you get those things in order so you can be profitable in the building up of our nation. Go ahead, Al.
Go ahead.
Read on. Now, I got to give me Sirach chapter 33 and verse 17. So we got to understand that this is going to be one of my favorite precepts, because this speaks nationality, nation building, man.
The book of Sirach, chapter 33, verse 17.
Uh-huh.
Consider that I labor not for myself only.
Read that again.
Consider that I labor not for myself only.
It says consider that we don't labor for ourselves only. So guess what? The things that we're doing, don't think that other people, your family, your friends are not seeing those things and that those things don't secretly have effect on people, man. Wearing your fringes, having husbands in order with their wives, having wives in order with their husbands. Just that alone with the sisters, man, is enough to change the minds and the hearts of our people, man. That's why we be on the sisters like we do, because like we always say, the nations can see that we're starting to get in order by what? By their women. They can see that once they see the sisters get in order, then they know, yes, these Negroes is progressive, man. These Latinos, they progressive, man. Because y'all see our people outside of these things. Booty shorts, loud mouth, angry black woman. Y'all know the stereotypes that are on our people. Go ahead, huh?
Yeah, the thing about it is, when I brought out the class about the breaches, once the main breach that was in our nation that we had to build up, and a lot of times, y'all think it's always against the women, but the fact of the matter is, y'all gotta understand this: when we fell from grace from God, it was from the beginning. Who was the one that brought sin into the world? The woman. All right. During the time when we were in captivity in America and the Willie Lynch syndrome, what did they do? They brought the woman to go against the man, to raise up the children to go against the man. So the biggest breach that we have to fix, and I know a lot of times everybody, we always going off on the woman, is the woman has to come back. And that's when they start seeing that, like the brother said. When they start seeing that, that's when things will start. You're going to see Jacob's trouble really come into effect when our women start getting back in line. The more these women come back, because they think they got us. Why do you think the church is full of women? The men are gone. Because a woman is a weaker vessel. I can easily manipulate the woman. And that's why we always saying, that is our biggest breach. We can plug up every little hole we want to all around this building. But that big hole where all the water coming in, that's what we need to plug up first. And that plug is the woman.
And just like I'm going into, just like even with the woman, just like when you be around your family, everybody fixing plates, guess what? The husband sitting over there, guess what? And the wife, if she in order, she going to go get her husband a plate, bring her back. That's what them women looking at that. So guess what? Them other women turn around and be like, well, I'm going to get my husband a plate too. All these little things.
That's right.
Yep.
These little things that we have to get our mind wrapped around, when you letting your light show and shine, guess what? It makes other women see. Guess what? Even when the men standing up doing what they supposed to do. Guess what? You see another man around you, they be like, dang, this brother right here, boy, he always be on point. Guess what? It make that brother do the same thing you trying to do, man.
Yeah.
This is something that we had to get our mind. This is preparing the
preparing
the breaches, man.
And that's what make it very important when y'all women are doing stuff. When y'all out here in y'all dresses, it's very important because y'all are pulling in that breach. Y'all are covering that hole up because y'all don't think y'all are. But man, I'm trying to tell you, when they see y'all looking like that, I hear them all the time. They don't understand. Oh, see, y'all wrapped up like that and all looking. Y'all look magnificent to me when y'all got on the whole look.
Magnificent.
I mean, just something magnificent, yes. And it's something that believe me, y'all plugging up a breach that we can't. A lot of times we can't do it. We can be men and say whatever, but until you women hold each other accountable for things, nothing will ever get solved. Because they don't listen to men no more. But now, when y'all are showing them an example and they start seeing that, a lot of women don't like to get left behind. Oh, hold on, wait a minute, what y'all doing?
They be over there.
And that's what they doing. And then guess what? Now they don't. I don't know where she going, but I don't want to. But she look like she doing. I want to go where they going. Look like they happy. Look like something is going on. Look like something different. So y'all are repairing the breach that men really can't touch. And it's up in this. The women in here responsibility to keep themselves in order according to this Bible.
That's right. But I'm gonna tell you, a lot of times you want your sisters to come into this truth. You want your brothers, your aunties, your uncle. It start with you.
Exactly.
Y'all seeing that, them seeing that example, like, damn, I know how she used to be in the world, but now she acting like this. Like, dang, this is something I may need to look into with her changing her life all the way like this. And this brother used to be like that in the world. Now this brother like this. Hey, this is something I may need to look into, man. So, hey, that's what we say. constantly let your light shine. Go ahead, huh?
And you can just be nice about it. Like even like on the birthday thing. I'm sorry, I don't celebrate that. According to the Bible, I can't. You don't have to keep going, blah, 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 blah. Nah, just say that and go on about your business.
Yeah, for real, that's it.
Go on about your business. Let them wonder why. Let them inquire. You know what I'm saying? We always, sometimes, a lot of men, we always, I'm going to throw this out there. Nah. Show them. Show them.
Read verse 17 again, huh?
The book of Sirach, chapter 33, verse 17.
Uh-huh.
Consider that I labor not for myself only, but for all them that seek learning.
So guess what? We're doing this, guess what, for our nation of people, man. We got to consider those things. How you carry yourself out in public. You know, the things that you say, the actions that you take, even how you walk and so forth. Any brother got the precept of that?
2nd Ezra 14:20.
Second.
Sirach 24, 34.
Say it again. No, that's not it. What you got, Brother Noah?
Sirach 24 and 34.
Yeah, Sirach 24 and 34. Y'all make sure y'all write that. Let's get that right quick for edification. Sirach 24 and 34.
Okay, First Thessalonians 5 and
5 and who?
5 and 11.
The book of Sirach, chapter 24, verse 34. Behold, that I have not labored for myself only, but for all them that seek wisdom.
Read that again, huh?
Behold, that I have not labored for myself only, but for all them that seek wisdom.
So when you letting your light shine out there, you're not just letting your light shine for you. You're doing it for the whole world to see, man. Like I said, we are that light. That's what I said in my class. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're going into not giving the ministry the blame. You don't want to be that blame on the ministry. Like I said, you want to make sure that you be the one that gets somebody in the truth more than hindering them from getting that, not coming to the truth.
And that's funny you say that, because the world right now is, they use this same thing like this. They saying, you don't get the COVID shot for yourself. You get the COVID shot for other people.
Yeah.
No, you keep this. You don't keep the commandments just for yourself. You keep the commandment for your other people that's in your nation.
That's right.
See how they'll try to twist that? They use these scriptures. And people don't know because they don't know the scriptures. But that's what they use. They use, where they getting their wisdom from? They ain't wise. They getting it from our book. Why shouldn't we get it from our book?
That's right.
Go ahead, Al.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one, Brother Shalom, 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 11. Let's go back to 2nd Ezra. 2nd Ezra chapter 10 and verse 9.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 10, verse 9. For ask the earth, and she shall tell thee that it is she which ought to mourn for the fall of so many that grow upon her. For out of her came all at the first.
Meaning what? We come from the dust. Going back to what? Genesis 2 and 7. Out of her, meaning the earth. Read on.
And out of her shall all others come. And behold, they walk almost all into destruction.
Read that part again up.
And behold, they walk almost all into destruction.
And they walk almost all into destruction. Read on up.
And a multitude of them is utterly rooted out.
And a multitude of them is utterly rooted out. Because, let's go to Ezekiel chapter 9, verse 4. Even during that time of the Babylonian captivity, the Most High God put a seal on people that who he would save and who he would kill. Ezekiel chapter 9 and verse 4.
The book of Ezekiel chapter 9 verse 4. And the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof.
So during Ezekiel, doing what? The Babylonian captivity, 586 BC, the Most High God sent the Babylonians against us. But he's telling basically the angels, set a mark upon all the people that's sighing that cry for all the abominations that be done. So the ones that's out there teaching the truth, keeping the commandments. Because the things that we see are abominations out here. Read on.
And to the others he said in mine hearing, go ye after him through the city, and smite.
And what?
And smite.
And kill. Read on.
Let not your eyes spur, neither have ye pity.
So, you know, we touched on this weeks ago. The Most High God had those angels letting them know who to kill and who to save. Read on.
Slay utterly, old and young, both maids and little children, and women.
Uh-huh.
But come not near any man upon whom is the mark.
But don't touch the ones that got the mark. Meaning what? The ones that had the mark to live. All of Israel went into captivity. But it was worse if you got dead. Read on.
And began at my sanctuary.
And do what?
And began at my sanctuary.
When they what? Destroyed the sanctuary. Start at the sanctuary. Start at the priests. Start at the leaders. Because they're the ones that's failing first. Read on.
You see how they go. If you kill the head, the body gonna die.
That's right.
Go ahead.
Read on.
Then they began at the ancient men, which were before the house.
The ancient men is going into the learned men. The leaders, the pillars.
The elders.
That's right. The elders. You got something? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Let's go back to 2nd Ezra chapter 9 and chapter 10 and verse 11.
The book of 2nd Ezra chapter 10 verse 11. Who then shall make more mourning than she?
And he asking the woman, who then should make more mourning than the earth, than our people? Because we have lost way more many. Even like Captain McAfee just talked. I know they always talk about the 6 million Jews, but what is that in comparison to the 100 millions of our people that died just in the transatlantic ocean alone?
Yep.
Not to say when we come over here, 400 years of hard bondage. Then you got Jim Crow laws. Then you got 100 years of lynching.
And the 70 million of the natives.
That's right.
That
Never
they did.
forget
That's
that.
170 million right there. But they trying to compare that to 6 million, which is a lie. I'm gonna prove that next week.
Read on.
That had lost so great a multitude, and not thou, which are sorry but for one.
Which are sorry but for one. So you worried about this one son and you see millions of our people destroyed? Read on.
But if thou sayest unto me, my limitation is not like the earth, because I have lost the fruit of my womb, which I brought forth with pains and birth and sorrow, with sorrow. But the earth not so.
So he's saying if she would say, guess what? My pain is more because I only had one son. You know, and we know that it's a terrible pain. Don't get me wrong. It's a terrible pain when a wife and a husband lose their only son. It talks about it even that in the book of Zechariah. Like when we see Christ, we're going to be out there mourning like if we had lost our only son or only daughter. Read on.
But the earth not so. For the multitude present in it, according to the course of the earth, is gone as it came.
Read on.
Then say I unto thee,
read on.
Like as thou hast brought forth with labor, even so the earth also hath given her fruit, namely man.
So the fruit of the earth is what? Is man. Read on.
Ever since the beginning unto him that made her.
Read on.
Now therefore, keep thy sorrow to thyself, and bear with a good courage, that thou hast befallen thee.
That which had befallen thee. Read it again from the top.
Now therefore, keep thy sorrow to thyself, and bear with a good courage that which had befallen thee.
So it's basically going into what? Give me Sirach 2 and 4.
And let me ask a question while y'all getting that. Did anybody know what Adam means? From the earth. That's what it means. That's why Adam was named Adam. It's from the earth. Just write that down. That's what that means. Go ahead.
Sirach chapter 2 verse 4. Start at verse 1.
The book of Sirach chapter 2 verse 1. My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation.
Because guess what? Temptation can come in many different forms. Temptation can also come in the form of death. Yes, we can lose loved ones in this truth. But I know, like we always touch on, I know we touch on death in the family. I know us as a nation of people, blacks and Hispanics, we take death hard because we have lost the understanding about it. But the more understanding I have gotten, I know that we do what? We come back. You know, we regenerate. So brothers and sisters have to take, and that's where you have to meditate on these scriptures and understand that, guess what, all we do is just come back, man. Come back. And if you're keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, then guess what, you'll be coming back to an everlasting life, man. Death is a part of life. Read on.
Verse 2. Set thy heart aright, and constantly endure, and make not haste in time of trouble.
Don't make haste in a time of trouble. The things that you go through, guess what, you understand, and you should know through the scriptures that we're going to deal with some things, man. But guess what? Put on your big girl skirt and your big boy pants, man. Seek counsel. Do the things that the Most High God is giving you the weapons to be able to handle that. Prayer, fasting, counseling. Read on.
Cleave unto him, and depart not away.
Uh-huh.
That thy man be increased.
Hold on now. Read that. Go up again and read that part you just read, man. It said, make not haste. Yeah, verse 2. Make not haste in the time.
Okay. I just read it from the top.
Yeah.
Set thy heart aright, and constantly endure, and make not haste in time of trouble.
And y'all see, if you see how this is going, talking about make not haste, it's going also to making decisions in the time of trouble. We want to always make sure that we're making the best decision in the time of trouble. Soon we go through some stuff, the Most High God start afflicting us. Guess what? The first thing we do, we run straight to go do some mess instead of start thinking things out, man.
That's right.
This is something that we're gonna have to get back to. Instead of, okay, ooh, I touched that, ooh, I touched the stove. I'm gonna go run and put my hand up under the water, and you might not need to do that. Because guess what? If you go to the doctor, guess what they're gonna tell you? They're gonna tell you to go sit right there and let that heat get out of your hand. These are the things that we must be start thinking. If you start thinking about certain things, like you say, in the time of trouble, you will. Guess what? The Most High God gonna make sure you be guided in the right way, man. These are the things, like I've said. If you see how this thing is going, and when he breaking down 2 Ezra chapter 9 and chapter 10, it's showing how to meditate through what the Most High God, showing us on how we stop making haste in our time, our trouble, man. We see trouble happen. Guess what? Lean on the Most High God, man.
That's right.
Go ahead.
Turn to his ways, like he said. At the time, it's time to don't make haste. Go back to these Bible, man, and get your answers, man. Don't get to thinking about it and start moaning and crying for yourself. Oh, well, everything just happening. Oh, well, get to that Bible, man, and things will stop happening. Go ahead.
Read verse 15 again, up.
Verse 3.
Oh, no, keep going, Salaki, on 2 Ezra.
Book of 2 Ezra, Sirach, chapter 2, verse 3. Cleave unto him, and depart not away, that thy mayest be increased at thy last end.
Read on, up.
Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully.
Read verse 4 again, up.
Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully.
Read it one more time, up.
Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully.
I know brothers and sisters got to get to a point where they meditate on that thing, man. They got to meditate on that, man, because I know, like we say, if anything, Lord forbid, some of these things be hard, but you got to understand that through the scriptures, the Most High God ain't going to put no more on you than you can't bear. You know, you have to be able to take these things cheerfully, understanding the precepts that, guess what, man, the Most High God said he was going to put me through some stuff, man. So why do I look surprised when I'm going through some stuff, man? That's all this thing. They always got this surprise look. No, you're going to go through some things in this truth, man. The strongest, even to the weakest of us, man. Captains deal with things, man. Don't think that everything we just walking by, skipping, la 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 la. No, brothers deal with things, man.
And captains probably go through stuff twice as much as the congregation, but you won't see it because we ain't here. Woe is me in this mug, man.
Read verse 4 again, up.
Verse 4. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully.
Take what?
Take cheerfully.
Take what?
Take cheerfully.
Read on, up.
And be patient when thou art changed to a lower state.
And be patient, brothers and sisters, when you change to a lower state. Go ahead, up.
It's saying the same thing. Don't be rash when situations don't go the way that you think they should. Don't make rash decisions or do things. Because this is like a prime example. Like every time so-called black woman go through something, husband, she don't know what the next thing she gonna do. Cut her hair. Then 2 weeks later she went in there getting some weed. Like I should have did that. You know what I'm saying? But don't make decisions like rash decisions when things come out. Just say be patient in your lower state because you never know how long you gonna be there. like I always say, the sun, the song. It's a lot of sunshine, but then it's rain to go with it too. But just because it's raining, what? But you can't take it, man. But your umbrella ain't big enough. With the sun out, it's good, right? Like you said with Job, man. You know what I'm saying? When he was going through it, he stayed true, man. You gotta stay true to what it is, knowing that guess what? It's building you up. Don't be rash with your judgment or what you're gonna do with your action because you're in a low state.
Yeah, they say, and be patient when thou art changed to a lower state. Man, take your time. Don't get to panicking.
Yeah.
There's a lot of time when people panic because something happened, you go and make the most stupidest decision.
Yeah, you do.
Then you got to come back and try to fix that. Then you panicking on that. Then you got to come back. Then you got a big old rabbit hole you done fell down. And then nobody dig it but yourself because you wasn't patient. That's why I tell Jerry, I used to tell him all, man, quit panicking. Don't worry about it. Chill out. You trust God. You trust God. Don't panic. But then try to come back. Oh, God did it. Oh, yeah, I trust. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You went and panicked. Went and cut your drawers up. Now you ain't got nothing to wear when all of it come down.
And I didn't cut my drawers. He just saying something. Don't even get it twisted, homeboy.
I'm just giving that example. I'm just saying. Don't get the panic of doing something when you finally get that taken care of.
He said that everybody like,
Let's go back to 2 Ezra chapter 9, verse 15.
he just saying, don't get your panties in the bunch.
Yes.
I don't know why I want to say that.
Not Jerubbaal panic.
2 Ezra 10.
The book of 2 Ezra, chapter 10, verse 15. Now therefore, keep thy sorrow to thyself, and bear with a good carriage that which has befallen thee.
Going back to what? Sirach chapter 2, verse 4. Whatever has come upon thee, take cheerfully. And we know brothers and sisters have to get to a level where they can properly apply that. You just don't come into the truth and you just apply it. No. You have to apply those things in stages, building up your spirit.
You know, I just said, hold on, man. It said, keep your sorrow to yourself, man. Like I said, we probably go through a lot of things, but you'll never know it. We ain't wearing it on our sleeves and our shoulders, man. It is what it is. You ain't gotta go around, yeah, man. What happened? What's up, bro? Oh, man, just trying to get this rent, man. Hey, brother, how you doing, brother? You know what I'm saying? Oh, man, I'm just trying to get this money, man. You know, keep your sorrow to yourself. If you want to talk to somebody about the sorrows, who you need to talk to?
God.
The Most High. You got to talk to the Most High about it, be done with it. You don't want to let everybody know everything what's going on with you, man. That builds character, though. That builds strength within yourself. You know what I'm saying? So guess what? Look at a brother Shalom, bro. Yeah, man. You going through a whole lot of stuff. Whole heap of stuff going on back at the house. Keep the sorrow to yourself, man. Don't wear them on your sleeve, man. You got to tell everybody everything. Read. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Verse 16. Well, if thou shalt acknowledge the determination of God to be just, thou shalt both receive thy son in time, and shall be commended among women.
Read verse 16 again.
Verse 16 from the top. For if thou shalt acknowledge the determination of God to be just.
So if you acknowledge the determination of God to be just, that he's a righteous, a just God, read on.
Thou shalt both receive thy son in time.
Read that part again. Thou
Thou
shalt
shalt both receive thy son in time.
On a deeper level, what is this going into, brothers? If you shall receive your son in time. What you got, Job? In time. Meaning he'll be back with you. Going into what?
The temple being rebuilt?
Say it again. Who said it? Don't be scared.
Regeneration.
Regeneration. That's what it's going into on a deeper level. Read verse 16 again.
Verse 16. For if thou shalt acknowledge the determination of God to be just,
I know you know, sis.
thou shalt both receive thy son in time, and shall be commended among women.
And you're going to be commended among women. Look, all praise Battle Axes, boy. They say they know the mountains, boy. Give me a second Maccabees chapter 7 and verse 14. But yeah, on a deeper level, going into regeneration. Because even, guess what? The temple was rebuilt again, man. And guess what? That thing gonna be rebuilt again the third time, man. even more, like we say, magnificent than it was before. So it's gonna be on a whole nother level, man. 2 Maccabees chapter 7 and verse 14.
The book of 2 Maccabees chapter 7 verse 14. So when he was ready to die, he said thus, it is good, being put to death by men, to look for hope from God, to be raised up again by him.
To be raised up again by him, going into what? Regeneration. This is the tale of the woman with the 7 sons that were being tortured. When brothers get a chance, when sisters get a chance, read back over these things. The Greeks were torturing her 7 sons one by one. So she was exhorting them even during that time of distress. They're getting their bodies mangled, meaning what? They're cutting off arms, cutting off legs, cutting off private parts. One brother they put in a frying pan and tried to fry him like some chicken. Only Esau do these types of things, man. Scalping brothers and so forth. Read verse 14 again, huh?
Verse 14 from the top. So when he was ready to die, he said thus, it is good, being put to death by men, to look for hope from God, to be raised up again by him.
To be raised up again by him, read on.
As for thee,
as for you, the other nations, read on.
Thou shalt have no resurrection to life.
Guess what? They ain't gonna have no resurrection to life.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. They can't come back.
That's right.
That's the thing about you. You've been regentified from gentrified. Yeah, you know one of the words. From the beginning of time to now. In order for this last time, you got a chance to repent and come back to your God. We messed up 7 times. Some of them more than that. I'm pretty sure more than that. Actually, you can go 14 for sure. And we here now from that same old man to come out of that man to finally get this thing right. You got to praise the Most High for that, man.
That's right.
Go ahead.
Jump over to verse 27,
Verse 27. But she bound herself toward him, laughing in cruel tyrant to scorn, spake in her country language on this manner.
So sister started speaking in the Hebrew. Read on.
O my son, have pity upon me, that bare thee 9 months in my womb, and gave thee suck 3 years, and nourished thee, and brought thee up unto the age,
unto this age,
and endured the troubles of education.
Meaning what? The troubles of education, because every student, every son and daughter don't learn the same. So she had to have problems. This one probably learned a little better. This one probably didn't learn as much. That's what is going into the troubles of education. Read on.
I beseech thee, my son, look upon the heaven and the earth, and all that is therein, and consider that God made them of things that were not, and so was mankind made likewise.
Read on.
Fear not this tormentor.
Read that again.
Fear not this tormentor.
Read on.
But being worthy of thy brethren, take thy death, that I may receive thee again in mercy with thy brethren.
Read that last part again.
Take thy death, that I may receive thee again in mercy with thy brother.
It says that I may receive thee again in mercy with thy brother. And going into what? Regeneration. She understood. Don't fear this tormentor. Because guess what? We keeping the law, statutes, commandments. We dying in these law, statutes, commandments. We're going to be raised up first, man. But as for the other nations that's doing this to us, guess what? They ain't going to have no resurrection of life, man. Just like what? Our temple was destroyed. That thing is going to be right back built up. They thinking that that's the temple over there with the wailing wall and so forth. That's not the damn temple.
Yeah, they supposed to be trying to come up with the money to rebuild the Solomon's temple. That was the same thing when Yahweh seen the temple that was rebuilt by the Romans. He was saying, man, I'm knock this temple down and rebuild it in 3 days. Because they were like, well, don't you see how beautiful it is? Man, that ain't what Solomon was, that ain't the temple Solomon was supposed to build. So the Most High said, yeah, don't worry about it. They over there pretending to build a temple, that ain't the temple I asked for. I'm going to build a temple again. Go ahead.
We got to prove that. I need that precept. It said not one wall shall be standing. No. Real quick, where's the time? Yeah.
But and also while he looking for that, y'all got to think on how this woman, how she was girding her children loins up, man, before they died too.
Right.
See how she was talking to them. This is something that that we should always be doing. What's that? Deuteronomy chapter 6 right quick while you find it. Deuteronomy chapter 6. While he looking for that. In verse. Start at verse 20.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 6 verse 20. And when thy son asketh thee in time to come.
He said, when thy son asketh thee in time to come, read.
Saying, what mean the testimonies and the statutes and the judgments,
read,
which the Lord our God had commanded you.
So now, this is the same thing we supposed to be doing. We supposed to be girding our children's loins up for the things to come, man. This is the same thing that woman was doing, man. She was girding her children's loins up to make sure that they was on the right point, man. Read.
Then thou shalt say unto thy son, we were Pharaoh's bondman in Egypt. So now this is going into just how he breaking down the history. We were Pharaoh's bondman in Egypt. Read. And the Lord brought us out of Egypt with a mighty hand. And just showing us how mighty our God is. So this is what the woman's doing. Same thing that Moses is explaining right here in Deuteronomy. Yeah. This is our God. Yeah, we was a bond. We were slaves here. This is the Lord's law, statutes, and commandments, though. And he brought us out with a mighty hand, showing us how powerful and how wonderful, magnificent our God is, man. Go ahead up.
Let's go to Matthew 24:1. Showing that temple over there, the temple mound, hey, that wall, even that wall, that's not that. What they be goosing the damn walls, all that damn stuff that they be doing over there, man. Show me where that was our heritage in the scriptures, man.
The book of St. Matthew, chapter 24.
Over there hitting the wall and stuff, man. That's out of order, man. Go ahead, up.
The book of St. Matthew, chapter 24, verse 1. And Yahushua went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple. And Yahushua said unto them, see ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be one here, one stone upon another, that shall not be thrown down.
Read that part again, huh?
And Yahushua said unto them, see ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another, that shall not be thrown down.
It said, there shall not be one stone upon her that shall not be thrown down. Any brother know when this was going to happen? What you got, Brother Solomon? 70 AD. Like I say, putting historical chronology into the text, man. Y'all have to be able to see those things there, so you can put 70 AD there. Because Christ was basically giving a prophecy that Israel was going to be destroyed because they started going back off. The scribes, the Sadducees, they was going off, man. So, hey, that was a prophecy concerning the destruction.
And that Luke 21:20, with that also, that was a prophecy that he was talking about this same thing, about the Roman army coming and knocking this place down, knocking the temple and everything down. 21:20.
Yeah. They try to say that this is the temple and the wall from during that time.
And another thing about Israel, when you go over there, Tel Aviv and all that stuff, that's not even built where the land of David, that's not even built in the same areas. They are actually outside the area. And if you go back to where what was that, where David and all them live, that land is still desolate. So they making stuff as they go along outside of what the scriptures are saying. They're calling themselves the real Jews. Right?
Exactly. A lot of that land over there is going into the land that Herod and his descendants built. Because Christ told you plainly that it wouldn't be not one stone to be up. So where did they get this stone from? That they over there humping and stuff.
Juicy cake, they got a pocket full of stuff.
And if you go and visit them, you cannot wear your fringes over to go visit into the walls, into the temple.
Why not?
They won't allow you to. The brothers from House of David went over there. They would not let them go in with the fringes. And then you had to get one of them yarmulkes.
What's the reason behind that?
Yeah, they're just the laws.
It's from the time of King Herod.
See, he told you plainly. I'm telling you, it's from the time of King Herod. So that's not our building. That's not the ancient wall.
Them not the peoples.
Them not the people. So you got Edomites and Ishmaelites over there fighting over that land, and don't now one of the land belongs to them.
And you let you know it should let you know who they was worshiping, who they King Herod, not the children of Israel, King Herod, which was an Edomite from Macedonia.
So they praying to a war that just has no.
Yeah, no significance. They praying to their devil.
Where it say in the Bible to do that?
For real.
Pray in public. What scripture cut them praying in public?
Matthew.
Yeah.
Matthew 6. We'll tell you not to pray in the open.
Right.
Not one fringe on,
What the beard said?
no border blue, naked faces on some of them.
I know we have brought up, y'all know, but you say why they wear black unto the ground from Jeremiah 14:2. Yeah.
Ask them what tribe they from.
For real. So all y'all for the tribe of Judah, what? And then you ask them, this is a killer right here. What the northern tribe at? The Ethiopian, man, stop it, man.
And where does that meet you described at?
Pilgrim hit the young.
He gave what straight commandments on how and what to build the temple with, man.
For real.
He showed, cause like, boy, I'm telling you, just like he gave us, man. Look, I remember that class I brought out, man. He read all this showing them how to build a temple, man.
Yeah.
Where's all the gold? Where's all the stuff that's supposed to be in the temple, man?
Exactly. He gave us
The cherubims in the front.
strategic
That's where they tell you to hunt the wall, man.
No, they say when they doing this, I was reading that that's supposed to be so they don't get busy and think about other things. They got a rock.
Man, that's what they thinking through their thing, man.
It helped it.
It ain't no. That's so.
Let's go back to second Ezra, man.
And they also praying with their heads covered.
That too, dog. Second Ezra chapter 10 and verse 17.
I'm surprised they ain't having a gate parade in that mud.
That mud probably laid on
that
that
came up. I'll show y'all when I was doing some research on that about the gates being that. Boy, that's something that they was living in.
Yeah, it probably was at noon. Got to clear out that area first.
They probably cut the volume down because they probably playing YMCA in the back.
Read that, verse 17.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 10, verse 17. Go thy way, then into the city to thine husband. And she said unto me, that will I not do. That will I not do. I will not go into the city, but here will I die.
So sister was in such sorrow that she wanted to just die right there. Read on.
I proceeded to speak further unto her and said, do not so, but be counseled by me.
Read that again.
Do not so, but be counseled by me.
Take the counsel that I'm
Right.
going to give you.
That's right. That's exactly right. Read verse 20 again.
Do not so, but be counseled by me.
Do not so, but what? Be counseled by me. Give me Sirach what? 19:23. 19.
Nothing.
Sirach, nah, that ain't. 19. Do nothing without counsel.
The book of Sirach, chapter 19, verse 23.
Oh, not that one.
All right.
I know I was going to get that blood. Y'all bear with me. Over 3 and 19. Yeah, it's 32 in verse 19, Salaki.
The book of Sirach, chapter 32, verse 19. Do nothing without advice.
Read that again out.
Do nothing without advice.
Do nothing without counsel, brothers and sisters, nothing without advice. Read on.
And when thou hast once done, repent not.
Let's go back to 2 Ezra chapter 10 and verse 20.
The book of 2 Ezra, chapter 10, verse 20. Do not so, but be counseled by me. For how many are the adversaries in Zion?
It says, for how many are the adversaries of Zion? Meaning what? All nations are against us. All nations, they do not want to see the rebuilding of the temple. They do not want to see the rebuilding of our nation, the real Israelites. Read on.
Be confident in regard of the sorrow of Jerusalem.
Now, where's the list of the nations that hate our guts? What you got out? Brothers got to have that on point. Psalms 83, man. Knowing all the list of nations that hate our guts. Read on.
For thou seest that our sanctuary is laid waste, our altar broken down, our temple destroyed.
Because Ezra, he kind of cleared it up in this verse. Read on.
Our psaltery is laid on the ground.
Meaning our musical instruments. Read on.
Our song is put to silence. Our rejoicing is at an end. The light of our candlestick is put out. The ark of our covenant is spoiled. Our holy things are defiled.
Read on now.
And the name that is called upon us is almost profane. Our children are put to shame.
Because when they took us, they took men, women, and children into captivity. Read on.
Our priests are burnt. Our Levites are gone into captivity.
They took the Levites into captivity. Read on.
Our virgins are defiled. And our wives ravished.
Raping our sisters. Read on.
Our righteous men carried away.
Took the strong men into captivity. Hard bondage. Read on.
Our little ones destroyed. Our young men are brought to in bondage.
So we couldn't bring up the next generation of our nation. Read on.
And our strong men are become weak.
Read on.
Hold on. This ain't if this ain't a correlation to what's happening right now to this day, man. This don't look like what happened right now, man. This is exactly where's our leaders at. Look how weak our men is. Well, I'm telling you, look how malady our women is. Look how our children out of order.
Look where the children at, the young men at. Where they at? In prison.
Come on, man.
It don't take nothing to go to prison, boy. Shoot, at my age, they wasn't doing that. But now, shoot, 18, 19, yeah, you got a ticket. They give you a free ticket. Straight down to TDC. Go ahead.
Verse 23. In which is the greatest of all. The seal of Zion had not lost her honor. For she is delivered into the hands of them that hate us.
Going back what? To the curse.
Let's get a precept on that. Let's go to Lamentation chapter 1 right quick. Verse 10. Because they, just like every time we went into captivity, guess what they did? They went. First thing they did, hey, like you say, let's destroy, let's go at the leaders. Then they take all the good and pleasant things from them. They have always done the same thing, man. Read that up.
The book of Lamentation, chapter 1, verse 10. The adversary has spread out his hand upon all her pleasant things.
This is going into the same thing, man. The adversary, they spread their hands out. That means everything that we got, they took all of it, man. Read.
For she had seen that the heathen entered into her sanctuary.
Because guess what? You seen that the heathen entered into the sanctuary. Read on.
whom thou didst command, that they should not enter into thy congregation.
Because they weren't even supposed, like you say, what do they have to do with us, man?
That's right.
They don't even supposed to be entering into our congregation. He's not even supposed to be entering our congregation, man, at all, man.
That's right.
Jump over to chapter 2, verse 7.
Chapter 2, verse 7. The Lord had cast off his altar.
Hold on. Who did it up?
The Lord has cast off his altar.
Said the Lord cast off his cast off the altar. Salaki, go ahead.
He had abhorred his sanctuary. He had given up into the hand of the enemy
Because
the walls.
This is how our God, man, look at it. When anything come upon us, it's from our God. Just know these things, man. Read on up.
The walls of her palaces. They have made a noise in the house of the Lord.
Read.
As in the day of a solemn feast.
Because they so happy, man. Hey, Jerusalem fell, temple fall. Guess what? Hey, they praise because they know they got us in derision right now, man. Read on.
The Lord had proposed to destroy the wall of the daughter of Zion. He had stretched out a line.
Read on.
He had not withdrawn his hand from destroying. Therefore, he made the report,
Rampant.
the rampant, in the wall to lament.
To lament, read.
They languished together.
They all language together, man. This is how the Most High God work in this thing, man. He ain't no joke. When he come down, hey, when the Most High God bring it to us, he bring it to us, man.
That's right.
Because he know the type of nation that we are, man. We the biggest, strongest, baddest nation on the planet. He gonna have to bring the heat on us, man. Because we ain't one of them weak ass nations that he just can just sit back. No, we the nation. No, we got. Why you think they keep killing niggas and niggas don't go nowhere, man? We're not. Why you think they keep killing Hispanics? They ain't going nowhere. Because guess what? Israel ain't no joke. The Most High God made us this way, man.
And what that brother brought out about all of the tragedies and stuff that all our nations did. Let me get one if you don't mind. Let's go to Luke 1:71 because, and people don't. This is the most simplest thing that people can't understand this when it comes to salvation and what we have to do. Because this is what's going on, like your brother said. It's happening to us right now. It ain't happening to us back in the day. It happened to us back in the day, but it's going on today. Go ahead.
The book of Luke, chapter 1, verse 71. That we shall be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us.
See, our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us. Because, look, this is what's going on. That's what we got. That's what salvation is for. It's for us, because our enemies they doing terrible things to us, man. They are doing the most. You can't even get it, man. They had some, fire department. The fire department. Go and look at a man that's in the case, and the fire department abused the man, kicking him. And the fire department. Now they done went from the police to now the fire department. What's next? The ambulance? They gonna start beating it up and ties IV up. Don't put him on that machine. Let him die. Man, this is what they doing to us, man. And he said from all of us that hate us, not just our enemies, but everybody that hate us. That's all I got. Go ahead, Arnold. I'll go to read 72 while you're there.
Verse 72. To perform the mercy promised to our fathers, and to remember his holy covenant.
And that's what he was telling us that when you go back to the second Esdras. The mercies and the promises that he was going to deliver them people out of this, man. They was tearing us up and still tearing us up. But our people, boy, we did a coon in this goddamn Bojangles, tap dancing Negroes in the world, man. I mean, boy, we don't got taps. We got a whole piece of metal across the whole bottom of the shoe. This big old smile, Kool-Aid in it.
Sammy Davis.
Go ahead,
Let's go back to 2nd Ezra 10 and 24. They got some reading to do. Just want to cover this. You get there, read that out.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 10, verse 24. And therefore, shake out thy great heaviness, and put away the multitude of sorrows, that the mighty may be merciful unto thee again, and the high shall give thee rest, and ease from thy labor.
I know a lot of times we want to get this rest, but Christ had quoted this. Give me Matthew chapter 11 and verse 28. They keep saying, show me where Christ quoted from the Apocrypha. We show many scriptures where he quoted from the Apocrypha. A lot of them is in the book of Ezra.
The book of Matthew chapter 11 verse 28. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest.
It says, come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. So, like we say, brothers and sisters, it's our job. We're commanded to put in the work in the truth.
Yeah.
Brothers that are able to go out there and be out there on the streets with brothers, teaching, trying to wake up our shit. Brothers got to do those things, man. That takes a process to where you get built up to do those things. But yes, it's our job to, guess what, be out there on those highways and byways trying to wake up our people, man. Then the Most High God gonna give us rest. Go ahead.
And why should we go? Why should we do this, man? Why?
Wake up our people, yeah.
And I'm gonna show you on a grander scale. Watch this. Go to Genesis 32 right quick. Show you on the grander. Why should we do this? 32 and verse 28.
The book of Genesis chapter 32 verse 28.
Read.
And he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but
Read.
Israel.
But Israel, read.
For as a prince has thy power with God.
That's the man. We got power with God, man. We supposed to be showing forth his strength all the time, man. Our name alone, Israel. Think of the name that he gave us, man. Power with God, man. Come on, what other nation has that but us, man? That's why it's pivotal for their brothers, man. Look here, man. It's time out for being lazy in this walk, man. You lazy, I don't care if you a bishop, deacon, captain, whatever. Get off your ass. You did that for your job. You can't do this for the Most High.
That's right. You know, and we always mainly shooting shots at keyboard Israelites out there. They love to type a good game, but when it's time to come out there and actually be about the business, they somewhere type.
Or the ones that want to criticize. Well, they in the camp, or they doing all the camp, man, but they ain't putting in no work.
That's right.
At all, and then expect to. But as soon as the kingdom pop up, they want to eat just like you ate, but they ain't really got no wheat. They ain't got nothing. They ain't mixed the bowl up, but they want to eat the cake though.
Cause I'm telling you something, man. Brother called me with an excuse, man. I'm telling you something, man. I'm being plain to you. Don't call me with it. I'm gonna tell you, man. It's an excuse. I don't care who you is. I'm gonna tell you now. It's an excuse. You did it for your job all day, didn't you? No, that's an excuse. If you did it for your job all day, you can do it for the Most High God.
That's right.
They said what the Lord said, where you lay your treasures up, where your heart be. I guess it's where you showing where your heart is, or where your heart is.
Yep, and a lot of us ain't too old either, because we ain't retired from that job. We retired from the Most High.
Read verse 28 again.
Verse 28 from the top. And he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel.
But Israel, read.
For as a prince has thy power with God and with men, and has prevailed.
And with men it has prevailed. That's why men can't destroy us. We got power with the Most High God. And with men, what can they do? Man, we the best of the best. They can't destroy us, man, because the Most High God got his hand on us, man. Go ahead, up.
Let's go back to Matthew chapter 11 and verse 28.
The book of Matthew chapter 11 verse 28. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you, and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls.
It says, take my yoke upon you and learn of me, meaning what? Go through the scriptures. Go through Christ. Go through the Old Testament. Go through the prophets. Read on.
For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light.
Read that again.
For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light.
Meaning what? It's not hard to be in this truth, man. It's not grievous to be in the truth. A lot of times, like I said, brothers love to make excuses. If you really want to be here and serve the Most High God, man, the Most High God will always find a way for you, man. But you gotta want that thing. A lot of times, brothers not in that position because they don't want it. A lot of times, sisters not in that position because they really don't want that thing, man. Let's go back to 2nd Ezra chapter 10 and verse 25.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 10, verse 25. And it came to pass while I was talking with her, behold, her face upon a sudden shine exceedingly.
Read that again out.
And it came to pass while I was talking with her, behold, her face upon a sudden shine exceedingly.
He said while he was talking with her, her face shined exceedingly. Read on.
And her countenance glistered, so that I was afraid of her, and mused what it might be.
So, what do y'all think this is, brothers? Who is this? Who did he actually see? Any brother know? Just take a hint at it. Who was the similitude of? I don't know if I'm wording that right, but I don't want to confuse brothers. Give me Hebrews chapter 13, verse 2. Because many a times the Most High God uses the prophets, uses the angels to act out prophecies he played through us.
Hebrew what?
Hebrews 13 and 2.
The book of Hebrews, chapter 13, verse 2. Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unaware.
Read that again.
Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unaware.
So this was a similitude of a what? Of an angel. Even when you go back to 2nd Ezra chapter 10, verse 25. Because are there women angels? Do any brother know? Are there women angels up there in heaven?
I'm sure.
Yes.
No.
What y'all think?
No.
Who said no?
I believe it is.
What you say?
I believe it is.
And you got a precept?
I don't have a precept.
Go back and read 25 again. Let's go to 2nd Ezra 10 and 25.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 10, verse 25. And it came to pass, while I was talking with her, behold, her face upon a sudden shine exceedingly, and her countenance glistered, so that I was afraid of her and mused what I might be, what it might be. And behold, suddenly she made a cry, and behold, suddenly she made a great cry, very fearful, so that the earth shook at the noise of the woman.
Let's get that precept. What you say, Solomon? You said no. Give me Zechariah chapter 5 and verse 9.
The book of Zechariah chapter 5 verse 9. Then lifted I up my eyes, and looked, and behold, there came out two women, and the wind was in their wings. For they had wings like the wings of a stork, and they lifted up the ephod between the earth and the heaven.
Read on.
Then said I to the angel that talked with me, whither do these bear the ephod?
It said, whither do
these bear the ephod?
It said, whether do these bear the ephod? So yes, there are what? Women angels. So y'all make sure y'all have that footnote. Let's go back to 2nd Ezra, chapter 10 and verse 26. 27, Salaki. Many said and you have to be careful too. Many similitudes, they can go 2 and 3 folds too. Most likely use a similitude for something to be something. So you have to be careful.
Say that over again.
The Most High God can use a similitude for a similitude to mean something.
That's a big con on this. If you think about it, that's a big con on this.
That's a lot of demonics.
Yeah, he didn't make that up.
Because that's why it says,
That's
given
that.
to us to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven,
That's
man.
right.
Read verse 27.
Precept
Go ahead,
upon precept. Go ahead, up.
read verse 27.
Verse 27. And I looked, and behold, the woman appeared unto me no more. But there was a city building.
Read verse 27 again.
And I looked, and behold, the woman appeared unto me no more.
So the woman, which symbolizes Israel, which symbolizes the city, which he used as a what? As an angel, appeared unto him no more. Read on.
But there was a city building, and a large place showed itself from the foundation.
Uh-huh.
Then was I afraid, and cried with a loud voice, and said, Where is Uriel, the angel?
It says, where is Uriel the angel? Because he's giving him similitudes and parables and visions that he didn't understand. Read on.
Where is Uriel the angel who came unto me at the first? For he had caused me to fall into many trances.
So he put many visions and trances. Trances is going into you basically daydreaming and so forth. You know, you daydream, you seeing something. This is what the archangel Uriel was doing to Ezra, giving him the understanding. Read on.
And mine end is turned into a corruption.
So he didn't understand this because you know he really just got on this woman for losing her son and not for the whole nation. So he like, dang, he feeling confused. Read on.
In my prayer to rebuke. And as I was speaking these words, behold, he came unto me and looked upon me. And lo, I lay as one that had been dead.
And he like, hey, you better get in order. Like, hey, check your spirit, man, because you're dealing with the Most High God's one of his powers here. Read on.
And my understanding was taken from me.
Uh-huh.
And he took me by the right hand and comforted me and set me upon my feet and said unto me,
Uh-huh.
What aileth thee?
It said, what aileth thee? What trouble you? Because you know, even going back, that the Most High God in Matthew chapter 4, he give his angels charge concerning us to, guess what, bear us up. A lot of times when brothers and sisters have heavy spirits, man, Most High God send an angel down there to comfort you, man.
And he also sent angels down there to check your spirit too.
Yeah, that's right.
Don't think it ain't no joke, man. Go ahead, up.
That's exactly right.
You got something?
Oh, you got some?
Let's go to all y'all precepts. Let's go 2 Ezra chapter 4 and verse 1. Like you say, he also seen this is Uriel. Same angel came down that was giving them finna comfort him, and the same angel's finna check his spirit too. 2 Ezra chapter 4 verse 1.
The book of 2 Ezra chapter 4 verse 1. And the angel that was sent unto me, whose name was Uriel,
Read.
gave me an answer.
Gave him me an answer. Watch this.
And said, Thy heart had gone too far.
He said,
in this
hold
world.
on, let's slow down. Read that again.
And said, Thy heart had gone too far in this world.
He said, hold on, your heart done gone too far. He checking it now. The angel is checking his spirit. He said, hold on. Your heart done gone. He's talking about your mind has gone too far in this world.
Thinking carnal.
Thinking, exactly. Read.
And thinkest thou to comprehend the way of the Most High.
He said, wait, he said, the way you think, you act like you can comprehend the ways of the Most High. You see how he checking his spirit? The same angel that came to comfort him was the same angel that came to check his spirit too. He think these angels got jobs to do, man.
Right.
Just like we have jobs to do, we got many angels got jobs, man. Go ahead, up.
Let's go to Matthew 4 and 6. Show that. Because it was the same thing, the same situation that happened with Christ, Salaki, after he fasted 40 days and 40 nights. Yes, he literally did that, man. That's not a similitude. That's why brothers and sisters got to pray for discernment. Sometimes brothers use the scriptures, don't know when it's literal, and they don't know when it's parabolic.
And he's not the only one that's done it either.
That's right. You get there and read that,
The book of Matthew chapter 4 verse 6. And said unto him, If thou be the Son of God, cast thyself down, for it is written, He shall give his angels charge concerning thee, and in their hands they shall bear thee up, lest at any time thou dash thy feet, thou dash thy foot against the stone.
So the Most High God gives his angels charge concerning us. Like we say, when brothers low in the spirit, sisters low in the spirit, just like he did with Ezra. He sent an angel to do what? Send them down there to comfort you. you praying, you fasting properly, the Most High God will always be there, man, through our trials and temptations and so forth. Let's go back to 2nd Esdras, chapter 10 and verse 31.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 10, verse 31. What aileth thee, and why is thy soul disquieted? And why is thy understanding troubled in the thoughts of thine heart? And I said, because thou hast forsaken me, and yet I did according to thy word. And I went into the field, and lo, I have seen, and yet see, that I am not able to express.
So he's saying, I've seen some things that I'm not able to comprehend. You showed me more things than I understand. Break these things down. Read on.
Hold on. And we got to have enough understanding, like we say, to read this Bible, that you don't know everything.
That's right.
Just like he had enough, guess what? Hey, I seen it, I don't understand it. If you don't understand it, man, guess what, man? You don't know. If you don't know it, you don't know it.
And that's what Ezra was doing. Show me everything. Then when he started showing him a little bit, he was like, whoa, hold on, got no understanding on that. And then that's what he's asking, what's the way to fire? No, darn well, man, just calm your butt down and learn what I got to teach you, man. Everybody want to jump down. I want to know all this. No. It ain't right for you to know right now. Just learn what you need to learn right now.
Yeah, exactly. Learn it. I'm glad that I said that, because a lot of times, that's why the Most High God got to give us new bodies, man. Because these little puny brains, man, they can't hold the capacity that the Most High God, the knowledge that he have, man. So, give me Sirach chapter 3, chapter 5, and verse 12. Sirach 5 and 12.
The book of Sirach, chapter 5, verse 12. If thou hast understanding, answer thy neighbor. If not, lay thy hand upon thy mouth.
It said, if you have understanding, answer your neighbor, but if you not, hey, just close your mouth. You know, because just like Captain Jerubbaal said, we're not meant to know everything. You know, the Most High God has given us enough to where we can make it to the kingdom of heaven. Give me Sirach chapter 3, verse 21. Yes, we know some deep things, but it's many more deep things in the Bible that we haven't unlocked yet, or will unlock until Christ, Lord's will, we make it to the wilderness. Like you say, going into what, like the 7 thunders? You're like, what, 7 thunders? What the hell is that? You know, when you read in the book of Revelation, you know, read this right quick,
The book of Sirach, chapter 3, verse 21. Seek me out the things that are too hard for thee.
Seek not out the things that are too hard for thee. Read on.
Neither search the things that are above thy strength.
So it's telling you, don't seek out things that's too hard for you. That's what we tell brothers. It's a process. Start milk, then gradually get up to that meat. You don't want to start meat, then go backwards.
That's like when everybody trying to argue about the world is round, the world is flat, the world. Man, ain't none of us, not one, nor do we have access to take a spaceship and go away from look at what's going on down there. All we can do is go by what they done told us.
I like what Jerubbaal always say. He said, I don't give a damn what it is. I just want to rule it.
Yeah, no doubt. It must be triangle for all I care. Like they said, octagon, rectangle. They don't matter. We just want our power back. That's what we want.
Let's go back to 2nd Esdras chapter 10 and verse 33.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 10, verse 33. And he said unto me, stand up manfully.
Read that again, huh?
And he said unto me, stand up manfully.
So we use this a lot out there on the streets, but now y'all getting a correct context of what it is in. Read on.
And I will advise thee.
So he's telling you, stand up manfully, and I will advise thee, man. Read on.
Then said I, speak on, my Lord, in me. Only forsake me not.
It said, and then said, I speak on, my Lord, teach me. You know, in me. Only forsake me not, man. Give me the understanding. Don't leave me out there. Read on.
Lest I die frustrate of my hope.
Lest I die frustrated of my hope. Lest I get frustrated in this truth. You know, not being able to break down these mysteries that you've given me. Read on.
For I have seen that I knew not.
Read that again, huh?
For I have seen that I knew not,
Read on out.
and hear that I do not know.
Because he couldn't perceive or didn't know the understanding of that woman. Read on.
Or is my sense deceived, or my soul in a dream?
Read on. He couldn't
Now-
tell whether he was in a trance or was it real. Read on.
Now therefore I beseech thee, that thou wilt show thy servant of a vision, of this vision.
Read on.
He answered me then and said, hear me, and I shall inform thee, and tell thee wherefore thou art afraid. For the highest will reveal many secret things unto thee.
And he did. He showed Esdras the what? The ending, the beginning of time, the beginning, the middle, and the ending of times. He broke down what? The 12 feathers to him. He broke down the latter days. You know, he showed Ezra many, many things, man. Gave him many comparisons, gave him many parables, gave him some of the deep stuff that brothers and sisters wish they could know. Read on.
He had seen that thy way is right, for that thou
take your time. Start over.
Yes,
take your time. Start over from verse 39.
okay, verse 39 from the top. He had seen that thy way is right.
So he had seen that, guess what? Ezra's way was right, that he was striving to keep the commandments. Read on.
For that thy sorrow is continually for thy people, and makest great lamentation for Zion.
So he's seen that, guess what? Ezra cared about his people, man. That his whole purpose was for his nation. He's seen that, man. He's seen the sincerity in the spirit, man. A lot of times, like we say, you see brothers and sisters, sometimes they're not sincere about being in the truth, man. They have secret agendas. Brothers secretly covet leadership roles. Brothers secretly covet rank, even over doing the work of the Lord, just to have some power and run over brothers and sisters.
And you see how the angel is talking to him. See, because when he went through the first parable, guess what? He said, okay, then I see that you understand now. Now I can be able to give you more. This is how this thing go with the Most High. When you understand, okay, his heart right on this, okay, I can feed you more. He can't keep, he's not gonna, that's why he keeps saying, I'm not gonna put new wine in the old bottle, man. It's gonna bust you.
Let me get a precept right
Wait
quick.
up.
Let's go to 2nd Esdras 14, and let's just go to 21. I wanted to do 1 through 6, but no, just go to 21.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 14, verse 21. For thy law is burnt.
He said, for thy what?
For thy law is burnt.
Now that's what I was trying to tell y'all. What happened was, when they came in, they burnt all the laws, all the Bible. They were burning all of them. We had none of them. So why do you think Ezra had to go back and write these things down again? Because they were gone. So that's who had to write. That's where we get at when I was giving y'all the thing about who wrote Genesis. Because see, when the law of Moses was all that was burnt up. Go ahead.
Therefore no man knoweth the things that are done of thee, or the works that shall begin. Continue.
Yeah.
But if I have found grace before thee, send the Holy Ghost into me, and I shall write all that had been done in the world since the beginning.
And see, he said, now he got to write. Remember who had to write everything that was done in the world from the beginning? Moses. All right, now go ahead.
Which were written in thy law.
Which were written what?
In thy law.
So they burnt the laws up. So everything that he had to go back, the first 5 books of the Bible had to be what? Ezra had to write them again. Go ahead.
That men may find thy path. And that they which will live in the latter days may live.
Go ahead.
And he answered me, saying, Go thy way, gather the people together, and say unto them, that they seek thee not for 40 days.
He said they seek thee. Now, how long?
Not for 40 days.
How long was Moses with the Most High?
40 days.
How long did Jesus fast and pray?
40 days.
Because Moses didn't do what in them 40 days? Eat nor drink at that time. Same thing Ezra did. Those 3 men did the exact same thing. And that's why I want to bring that to y'all. And he had to, so a lot of stuff, the thing about it, when the Most High was giving it to Ezra, he got all cocky. Show me everything. And like, wait a minute, hold on. Moses didn't even do that. You know, he took his time. Let me take your time with you. You know what I'm saying? And that's what he was doing. Oh, he saw that little bit and he wanted it all. And then he had to, like the angel had to do.
Had to build him up.
And the angel had to correct him. Man, hold on, God dang it, man. You tripping. Wait a minute. He's just excited. Man, if I showed you everything, boy, you'd just sit there and cry. Man, you better take your time and learn what I got to tell you. Go ahead,
Because that's something I meditate on a lot too. I ain't gonna even lie. Y'all know, to get this knowledge, Ezra did what he fasted 7 days. Brothers and sisters think y'all can do that. So if you knew that the Most High God would send an angel down and ask you all your questions, could you fast for 7 days?
I probably killed myself trying to do that.
Man, that's some stuff I really meditate on a lot. Like that, there would be some heavy stuff.
And if you say you can, do it. What is you waiting on? What is y'all waiting on? What is you waiting on? Do it. Do it. I can do it. We'll do it. Y'all should be seeking that now.
Let me, matter of fact, jump down to verse, on the same chapter 14, jump down to verse 42.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 14, verse 42. The highest gave understanding unto the 5 men.
These are the 5 men that was writing for Ezra, man. Read.
And they wrote the wonderful visions of the night that were told, which they knew not.
Which they knew not, man. Read.
And they sat 40 days, and they wrote in the day, and at night they ate bread.
They got this a little bit more deeper parable on that, but they wrote and they was receiving at night. That's going into the bread. Read.
Verse 43. As for me, I spake in the day, and I held not my tongue by night.
He said he spake in the day and he held not his tongue by night. So it means day and night. Guess what he was doing? He was retaining knowledge and he was spitting it out to him.
Write it down. Write it down. Write it down. He was getting into speaking. Getting into speaking. And they was constantly writing.
Watch it. Read.
In 40 days, they wrote 204 books.
So do we got 204 books we can read right now? Nah. But this is how, guess what? But you thinking that, hey, he wrote the same thing Moses wrote. So guess what? How many books Moses had? Y'all understand that? You see how they go, the correlation? If he wrote 200, he wrote 200, and they wrote 204 books. Guess what? Moses wrote more stuff down than you thought he did.
Yeah. Now go back up to 6. Jump back to 6. I'm going to explain that. That's going to explain that. 14 to 6. I know we done took the man class over.
2nd Ezra chapter 14, verse 6. These words shall thou declare. And these shall thou hear.
And that's why he said these words. Hey, he wrote that many books, but I remember me and him talked about this a long time ago. These shall I declare. I'm gonna show y'all. I'm gonna give y'all these 8 books, and these shall I hide. And see, that's the same thing. That's the same thing he was doing with Moses. He gave Moses the same information, and he only gave us what he was supposed to give us. And then even when he gave Ezra this information, he said, "Don't give up all that. Just give him this
basic understanding before leaving earth."
There you go. And that's why Yahweh said, "We're gonna go to Zion. And he's gonna teach us all that." Y'all get that? All praise.
Let's go back. Second Ezra chapter 10 and verse what are
10 and 40.
Okay, read that out.
The book of 2nd Ezra chapter 10, verse 40. This therefore is the meaning of the vision which thou lately sawest. Thou sawest a woman mourning, and thou beginnest to comfort her. But now seest thou the likeness of the woman no more, but there appeared unto thee a city building.
It says, but there appeared unto thee a city building, because that's what that's what the lesson is really going back into, us preparing and trying to get our city back. Because we don't have a city. We don't have a nation. We don't have a landmass. Give me Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 13. I know we love to say that we're African Americans. You know, our brothers and sisters that have not been woke yet. You know, we don't have a landmass like Ak always bringing out. Chinese people can go back to China. Japan people can go back to Japan. Japanese people. But what can we go back to? So we declaring this, man. Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 13.
The book of Hebrews chapter 11 verse 13. These all died in faith.
The these that it's talking about is going into Abraham, Sarah, Enoch, Abel. Because they didn't see, not to the degree, the promised land. Read on.
Not having received the promises, but having seen them afar off, and were persuaded of them, and embraced them.
Read on.
And confessed that they were strangers and pilgrims on the earth.
Because that's all we are right now. We're strangers and pilgrims on this earth. Esau done took over this land, man. This land, man, is not ours, man. No matter how much people want to claim it. Read on.
For they that say such things declare plainly that they seek a country.
Read that part again, huh?
For they that say such things declare plainly that they seek a country.
Guess what? We seeking a country, man. We seeking that thing, man, right now. Read on, huh?
And truly, if they had been mindful of that country,
if we have been mindful of that country, of our land, Israel, read on,
from whence they came out, they might have had opportunity to return.
Read verse 15
again. They may have opportunity to have returned.
Read it again.
From the top. And truly, if they had been mindful of that country,
if we have been mindful of that country, knowing that, guess what? The land of Israel is the Garden of Eden. Pleasant land. The best of everything. The cream of the crop. Read on.
From whence they came out, they might have had opportunity to have returned.
Go ahead, you got something?
Yeah, I'm glad you said it, because that's the thing about it. Even when we had fled into Africa, what do? Instead of lamenting on the country we came from, we got comfortable there. And then guess what happened? Wound up having to get on slave ships, because we weren't even mindful of our own land that we had. We was just taking all over. Yeah, we'll just stay here. No, God gave you that land.
Yeah, man.
And we was just, hey, we got comfortable there. Now we done got comfortable in America. People don't even want America to burn. And I'm like, burn it, raise it, like they told us did ours. Raise it, burn it. I don't want nothing about this place. They don't even know how to build highways right. So forget this place, man. Let it knock it down, burn it. I don't give a dang. Ain't nothing good for me over here.
And every time they have an accident, it's like a murder scene.
No doubt, man.
The whole thing goes.
All this, I don't squash that. Let us get our land back. Let us build it the way we need to see fit. And it'll probably go a lot easier. We won't see traffic. All this stuff they got going on. Go ahead, Al.
Read verse 16, now.
Verse 16. But now they desire a better country.
Now we desire a better country.
Boy, I tell you.
Read on.
But now they desire a better country. That is, and heavenly.
And heavenly. Guess what? We want the kingdom of heaven on earth. We want that thing, man. And brothers and sisters got to be trying to seek that thing, man.
And that's the thing about it. We looking for it when we had it already. We already had it. Now here we go over there. Now we got kicked out. Now we looking for we'll find one over here. I said, no. The same land is still the same land that was better for y'all. It's just desolate right now because y'all ain't right.
Yeah.
And once we get right, that land will wake back up and do what that land do. See, a lot of times we don't even understand what Israel was doing, how that land was flourishing, how that land was growing, how beautiful that land was. Because we killed it. We killed it. It's the most beautiful thing on the planet. The Garden of Eden was there. But we look at it like, nah, I don't even know if I want that land. It ain't nothing but rocks and desert and shoot. But when we get right and go back to the land, now we'll see.
Don't you want
That's what the kingdom gonna look like. Go ahead, Al.
Read verse 16 again, Al.
Verse 16 from the top. But now they desire a better country, that is, and heavenly. Wherefore God is not ashamed to be called their God.
No, praise.
For he had prepared for them a city.
Read that last part again.
For he had prepared for them a city.
Don't be mistaken, brothers and sisters. That thing is already prepared for us, man.
Yes.
It's already prepared. Brothers and sisters just got to, guess what? Do the things to get to that point.
Get to it.
Endure to the what? To the end, man.
Well, that's what Yahweh said, hey, I already got your mansion ready.
That's right.
I already built that. It's already ready to go. Just you got to be ready to be set in your right place.
Go ahead. Let's go back to 2nd Ezra chapter 10. in verse 43.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 10, verse 43. And whereas she told thee of the death of her son, this is the solution. This woman whom thou sawest is Zion. And whereas she said unto thee, even she whom thou seest as a city building.
Now he's giving what? The breakdown of what we read earlier, even though we went through those things. The woman is Zion. She represents the city. Read on.
Whereas I say, she said unto thee, that she had been 30 years barren.
That she had been 30 years barren, meaning what? No temple built. Read on.
Those are the 30 years wherein there was no offering made in her. But after 30 years, Solomon built the city.
But after those 30 years, Solomon built the temple, even when you read in what? In the book of 1 Kings. Read on.
And offered offerings.
Chapter 5, verse 6.
In chapter 5 and chapter 6. That's when he built the temple.
Be precise with that thing. Chapter 6. 1 Kings chapter 6, verse 1 on down. Chapter 5 too.
5 and 6.
5 and 6. Read on. Verse 46 again.
Verse 46. But after 30 years, Solomon built the city and offered offerings, and then burned a son. And whereas she told thee that she nourished him with labor.
Because the priests was doing their offices according to the scriptures during that time. Read on.
That was the dwelling in Jerusalem.
That was the dwelling in Jerusalem. Read on.
But whereas she said unto thee, that my son coming into this marriage chamber happened to have a fall and died.
It says, but whereas she said unto thee, that my son coming into his marriage chamber happened to have a fall and died. Read on.
This was the destruction that came to Jerusalem.
This was the destruction that came to Jerusalem in 586 BC. Read on.
And behold, thou sawest her likeness, and because she mourned for her son, thou beginnest to comfort her. And of those things which have changed, these are to be opened unto thee.
And going into also 70 AD too, it says, and behold, thou sawest her likeness, and because she mourned for her son, thou beginnest to comfort her. Meaning what? He comforted her during that time. He understood that, guess what? Ezra was doing this for his nation of people. He was concerned about his nation, the city, the temple, because Ezra was a priest. So it was his job to instruct our people and teach them the law, statutes, and commandments. So if we're doing that stuff out of order, like I say, you cut the head off, the body is going to fall. Read on.
But now the Most High said that thou art grieved unfeigned, and suffered from thy whole heart for her. So has she showed thee the brightness of her glory, and the comeliness of her beauty.
And the comeliness. Give me Matthew chapter 5, verse 14. We always touching on this. I touched on this in this class Monday.
The book of Matthew chapter 5 verse 14. Ye are the light of the world.
We have to be that light, brothers and sisters, man, to be that example, to set the example for our brothers and sisters, man, that don't know no better right now. Because like we say, it might not be their right time to wake up, but don't think that these things don't resonate on their spirit, man. Read on.
A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid.
How you gonna hide a city that's set up on high? You can't hide that thing. This is similar to us. We set up on high, so don't hide your light, man. Don't hide that thing, man. Be that example, man. Be that beacon of light. Go ahead, Op. Read on, Op.
Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel. But on a candlestick.
But on a what?
But on a candlestick.
But you put your light on a candlestick. Read on.
And it giveth light unto all that are in the house.
So you can let everybody see this thing, man. Let's go back to 2nd Ezra chapter 10 and verse 51.
43.
51. Second Ezra 10 and 51.
I'm sorry.
You all right. I said he want to go back and read it.
Say, stay with me now.
The book of Second Ezra, chapter 10, verse 51. And therefore I bade thee remain in the field where no house was built.
Uh-huh.
For I knew that the highest would show thee unto this.
It says,
for I knew that the highest would show this unto thee.
It says, and therefore I bade thee remain in the field where no house was builded. So the Most High God allowed Ezra to go out there so he could show him this vision and give him the understanding of what it meant. So a lot of times when the Most High God, you may read the scriptures, but sometimes you have to meditate on these things, and then you get that thing 2 or 3 days later, maybe a week later. You know, I did that many of times. Like you say, some you reading over, you can't get the correct understanding. Then a week later, guess what? Damn, I got it. That's it right there. Read on. 52 again.
52. Therefore I command thee to go into the field.
52.
Oh, so verse 52. For I know that the highest will show this unto thee.
So he knew he was going to get the understanding of the vision. Read on.
Therefore I commanded thee to go into the field where no foundation of any building was.
So he told him, go into there where it's no foundation. No brothers done covered this, because we can't build on no foundation but what?
Right.
Whose foundation can we only build on?
Right.
What precept is it? Y'all see how it basically will be like open book tests to see what brothers is retaining, what brothers bring out, man. What you got, Brother Charles? I ain't called on I call class.
Sister shaking the seats over there, boy.
We,
Yeah,
no. Nope.
Man, young Noah finna answer all the questions. What you got?
What you got, huh?
1 Corinthians 10 and 4.
No.
At least he tried.
Give me 1 Corinthians. I thought I had 1 Corinthians chapter 3. 1 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse 11.
The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 3 verse 11. For other foundation can no man lay than that is laid, which is Yahweh.
Which is what?
Yahweh.
Read on now.
Now if any man build upon this foundation gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, stubble.
And it's telling you the rewards if you build on Christ's foundation. You get what? Gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay. Basically going into what? The description of the kingdom. When you read in the book of Revelation, how each foundation is going to be laden with precious jewels. Tribe of Judah will be laid with the foundation of emeralds. The tribe of Issachar, they'll be laid with the foundation of diamonds and so forth. Each of these things is outlined when you read in the book of Revelation chapter 21. Let's get there right quick. Revelation chapter 21 and verse, let's just get to the point, verse 18.
The book of Revelation chapter 21 verse 18. In the building of the walls of it was of jasper.
So at verse 16, what I got as a footnote, description of the kingdom. Read verse 18 again.
Verse 18. In the building of the wall of it was of jasper. And the city was pure gold.
Was what?
Was pure gold.
Read on up.
Like unto a clear glass.
Uh-huh.
And the foundations of the wall of the city were garnished with all manner of precious stones.
Uh-huh.
The first foundation was jasper.
Read on up.
The second, sapphire. The third, chalcedony.
Uh-huh.
The fourth, an emerald. The fifth, sardonyx. The sixth, sardius. The seventh, chrysolite.
Uh-huh.
The eighth, beryl. The ninth, topaz. The 10th, a chrysoprase.
So forest.
A chrysoprase. The 11th, a jacinth.
Uh-huh.
The 12th, an amethyst.
Uh-huh.
In the 12 gates were 12 pearls. Every several gate was on one pearl.
Was of?
Was of one pearl.
Uh-huh.
And the streets of the city were pure gold, as was transparent glass.
As it were transparent glass. So y'all seeing the description. So now you seeing why, guess what, you can't have the thieves in the kingdom. Guess what, they been there trying to pick out the stones. And brother, it belongs to you, brother. What you need to steal it for? Like, it's made, it's a decoration.
Eddie Murphy on that trading place.
Yeah, and it belonged to him.
Hey, you still young.
Richard Price is the same thing.
Oh, yeah, hold it to after class. Write that footnote, Brother Kurt, so you don't forget your thoughts. So it's giving you a description, man. Let's go back to Second Ezra, chapter 10 and verse 54.
The book of
Yeah,
Second
I'm trying to put it up. I got three damn things in one.
The book of Second Ezra, chapter 10, verse 54. For in the place wherein the highest beginneth to show his city, there can no man's building be able to stay.
So in the place where he began to show his city, you can't build your own city on that thing. That's already reserved and laid out for the Most High. So that translates to what? Doctrines and so forth. You have to build on the foundation and the doctrine of Christ. You can't build this thing on Islam. You can't build it on Christianity. You can't build it on Baptists. You got to build these things on the laws, statutes, and commandments, man. That's the doctrine. Read on.
Verse 55. And therefore, fear not. Let not thine heart be afraid. But go thy way in, and see the beauty and greatness of the building, as much as thine eyes be able to see.
Read on now.
And then shall thou hear as much as thy ears may comprehend.
Read on.
For thou art blessed above many others.
And that's, guess what? That's the spirit that brothers, that's the light that brothers and sisters all should be trying to obtain to. Read verse 56 again. Verse 57 again. It's a lot.
Verse 57. For thou art blessed above many others.
He said that Esdras was blessed above many others, man. Boy, when the Most High God send somebody down, an angel down, and tell you that, man, that's in high regards, man. Meaning that this brother was striving, being diligent to the work, man. Striving to keep the commandments. Thinking about his nation. Putting his nation before himself. Hey, that's something to look up to, man. Read on.
And are called with the highest. And so are but few.
He said, and so are but few. Boy, say, that's heavy right there, man. But few. I know, brother. How did I say it? Few. Y'all know, hey. Hey, damn it, magnifical. Hey. Read this,
Verse 58. But tomorrow at night thou shalt remain here. And so shall the high show thee visions of the high things, which the Most High will do unto them that dwell upon the earth in the last days. So I sleep. So I slept that night, and another like as he commanded me.
Give me this last precept. Give me Revelation 21 and 2. Because this all builds up to that.
The book of Revelation, chapter 21, verse 2. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven.
Because it's going to be that beautiful. Like we always say, it's going to look like the Most High God took it out of heaven and placed it on earth. Read on.
Prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men.
The house of God is with men. Meaning what? The men Israelites. Women Israelites. Read on.
And he will dwell with them.
Read that again. And he will what?
And he will dwell with them.
Read on now.
And they shall be his people.
This is how you knowing that it's talking about only Israelites. And they shall be his people. Only the Israelites are God's people. Read on.
And God himself shall be with them and be their God.
And with that, we say shalom. Tell brothers and sisters to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. So we always like to bring out a law. So we're going to bring out one real quick. So we're going to bring out one. Let me see if I can. Give me Leviticus chapter 25 and verse 17.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 25, verse 17. Ye shall not therefore oppress one another, but thou shalt fear thy God. For I am the Lord your God.
So it's a law that we shouldn't oppress one another. Like I say, if you have an opportunity to help your brother out, help your brother and your sisters out, man. Don't take advantage of them like how the Christianity pastors is doing, man. Robbing our people blind. We ain't supposed to deal with each other in that type manner. Now the other nations, hey, that's another story. But for our people, guess what? We don't deal like that, man.